Welcome back to Binge Bazaar. Today we're diving into the heartwarming tale of a lazy, underachieving boy whose entire destiny shifts when his descendant from the future sends back a remarkable robotic companion. Let's explore the 2014 film Stand By Me Doraemon. Meet Nobita, a 10-year-old Japanese student whose biggest dream centers around his classmate Shizuka. One morning, he experiences a vivid dream where Shizuka appears outside his bedroom window, inviting him to play. They begin floating through the air together, and just as Nobita reaches toward her, his mother's voice breaks through, demanding he wake up for school. Reality crashes back as he realizes he's overslept again. This tardiness lands Nobita in the hallway during class time, a familiar punishment for this perpetually struggling student. His day takes a turn for the worse when Sunio arrives to mock his predicament, followed by John, who continues the daily harassment. Despite feeling hurt by this treatment, Nobita never retaliates. Fortunately, Shizuka notices his distress and intervenes, telling the bullies to leave him alone. Nobita's challenges extend beyond punctuality and social dynamics. During baseball practice, he consistently fails to catch even the simplest throws, embarrassing himself when even Jaiko, John's little sister, outperforms him. Academically, he fares no better, regularly earning the lowest scores in class. At this rate, his future looks bleak indeed. However, fate has other plans. That evening, Nobita receives unexpected visitors through his desk drawer: Doraemon, a blue robotic cat, and Sawashi, claiming to be Nobita's great-great-grandson from the 22nd century. Initially terrified and convinced he's dreaming, Nobita's skepticism dissolves when he peers into the drawer and discovers an entire world beyond it. Being a gracious host despite his confusion, Nobita fetches juice and dorayaki from the kitchen. Doraemon's delight upon tasting the sweet treat is infectious. He declares it the most delicious thing he's ever experienced. Still struggling to comprehend the situation, Nobita questions how he could possibly be someone's great-great-grandfather at his age. Sawashi explains the timeline, revealing that Nobita will marry in 19 years and showing photographs as proof. The boy is shocked to discover his bride will be Jaiko, and the images reveal a future filled with misery. When Nobita protests this destiny, Sawashi explains their mission, preventing exactly this unhappy outcome. The future reveals Nobita's tragic path. Countless job rejections lead him to start his own company, which burns down, forcing him into crushing debt that affects generations of descendants. To break this cycle of poverty, Sawashi has traveled back with Doraemon to create a better timeline. However, Doraemon initially resists this assignment. Sawashi programs the robot cat to remain in the past until he successfully makes Nobita happy, then departs for his own time, leaving the reluctant Doraemon behind. When Doraemon attempts to return home, his nose glows red and delivers an electric shock as punishment. Resigned to his mission, Doraemon introduces Nobita to the take-copter, a propeller-like device from the 22nd century. After placing it on the boy's head, he pushes him out the window. Just before hitting the ground, Nobita begins flying, though his inexperience leads to wild, uncontrolled flight through the city. After near misses with rivers and trains, he finally masters the device and flies to Shizuka's house to visit her, though she's already asleep. Nobita confesses his feelings for her to Doraemon, who promises to help unite them so he can return to the future. The next morning, Doraemon begins implementing his strategy. As Nobita rushes out to avoid another tardy arrival, Doraemon presents the Anywhere door, a portal that transports users to any desired location simply by thinking about it. Nobita arrives at school early for the first time, surprising his classmates. That evening, Doraemon provides memory bread, slices that allow Nobita to absorb any information written on them. The next day brings Nobita's first perfect math test score, though his success earns him a beating from the jealous John. Seeking revenge, Nobita requests Doraemon's help, receiving an invisibility cape that allows him to strike back at his tormentor unseen. During the following baseball game, Nobita excels using a special catching glove. However, His celebration accidentally breaks a school flower vase, witnessed by Sunio, who runs to inform the teacher. The crying boy pleads for Doraemon's assistance, and the robot produces a time cloth that reverses the vase to its unbroken state. When the teacher finds the intact vase, he punishes Sunio for apparent lying. At home, Doraemon gives Nobita a speed-up key that allows him to complete tasks instantly. Wanting to share these wonders, Nobita introduces his classmates to future gadgets. Using Gulliver Tunnel, they shrink themselves and construct an underground treehouse, making Nobita more popular than ever. Despite his newfound status, Nobita still struggles to win Shizuka's attention, as she remains focused on Dekisuji, intelligent, athletic, and kind to everyone. Feeling defeated, Nobita believes he can never compete. Doraemon, frustrated by this defeatist attitude, searches his pocket for a solution and produces the love potion egg. The device works like imprinting in newborn birds. Whoever Shizuka sees first upon emerging from the egg after 15 minutes will become the object of her affection. Carrying the egg through the streets, Nobita grows tired and sets it down to rest. The egg rolls away, heading toward John, who punches it instinctively, activating the mechanism and trapping himself inside. Not wanting to be the first person John sees, Nobita flees. After 15 minutes, John emerges and immediately becomes infatuated with Sunio, the first person he encounters, leading to a frantic chase scene. Hidden under their invisibility cape, Nobita and Doraemon recover the egg and use the pass-through hoop to create a direct passage to Shizuka's front door. While waiting the required 15 minutes, Nobita asks Doraemon to leave to avoid being seen first by Shizuka. However, Sunio soon arrives seeking help with a lovesick John, knowing Doraemon is responsible. Meanwhile, Dekisuji returns to Shizuka's house for a forgotten book. When John finds them, he grabs Sunio, allowing Nobita to rush to his room, expecting to find an infatuated Shizuka. Instead, he discovers she's already fallen for Dekisuji. When Doraemon appears, Nobita begs him to fix the situation. Dekisuji, understanding the artificial nature of Shizuka's feelings, asks for help returning her to normal because he wants to earn her love authentically, not through machines. Even after using a helmet to reverse the effect, Shizuka declares her feelings for Dekisuji are stronger than ever, and they walk away hand in hand. Following this disaster, Doraemon lectures Nobita about over-reliance on gadgets. To become successful and useful, the boy must study and work independently rather than depending on future technology. That night, Nobita reflects deeply and decides to wake early for serious studying. Doraemon is amazed by this transformation and helps with exam preparation. On test day, Nobita feels confident until he reads the questions. His math preparation proves useless for the essay exam, resulting in another 0. Walking home dejectedly, he refuses to discuss the test when Doraemon asks, prompting the robot to use a gadget to extract the test paper from his backpack, discovering the mix-up. When confronted, Nobita breaks down crying, expressing hatred for his life. At home, he asks his mother to move away, but she dismisses his request. Doraemon attempts encouragement, explaining that one failed test doesn't determine future failure. But Nobita announces he's giving up everything, including his dream of marrying Shizuka. Having realized that marrying him would only bring her unhappiness, and truly caring for her, he doesn't want to burden her life. Visiting Shizuka's house to return borrowed books, Nobita speaks with her father while she's in the bathroom. Overhearing their conversation, including Nobita's wish for her happiness and his farewell, she quickly dresses and follows him outside. When she demands an explanation for his strange behavior, Nobita, desperate to drive her away, lifts her skirt. His plan succeeds. After slapping him, she storms off. However, walking home, Shizuka realizes Nobita's true intentions weren't perverted. His eyes were closed during the incident. Later, when Nobita asks Dekisuji to make Shizuka happy, his friend finds this request peculiar and shares his concern with her. Thinking Nobita might be contemplating suicide after his goodbye visit, she runs to his house. Hearing Shizuka calling from his window, Nobita asks Doraemon for something to keep her away. The robot provides scram bug spray, warning that just one sip is sufficient. Panicked and desperate, Nobita drains the entire bottle. As dark mist rises around him, the potion affects everyone nearby. First Doraemon, then his mother who flees the kitchen, and Shizuka outside the house. Just as Shizuka prepares to flee, she hears Nobita's cry for help and rushes to him instead. Finding him ill from the overdose, she takes his hand, awakens him, and helps him to the bathroom. After vomiting the substance, Nobita recovers while Shizuka explains her worry that he might have taken poison. That night, as Doraemon finds Shizuka crying while cradling the sleeping Nobita, he realizes the day's events have begun changing the boy's future. Using a special viewing device, he shows Nobita a glimpse of his new destiny, marriage to Shizuka and children together. However, this happiness proves temporary. The next morning brings fresh despair when Nobita witnesses Dekisuji proposing to Shizuka, causing him to cry. The pair then laughs, explaining they're merely rehearsing for their school's Cinderella play. At home, Nobita discovers his future constantly shifting. His marriage to Shizuka is no longer guaranteed. Using a temporal viewing device, Doraemon advances 14 years to show adult Nobita refusing Shizuka's invitation for mountain climbing. The boy realizes he hasn't changed fundamentally and feels ashamed. Moving the timeline forward further reveals Shizuka alone in a deadly blizzard while future Nobita stays home with a cold, prioritizing his comfort over her safety. Determined to rescue her, Nobita uses the time wrap to age his appearance 14 years and asks Doraemon to transport him to the mountain via the Anywhere door. Despite Doraemon's warnings about the risks of altering the future, Nobita insists on the mission. Arriving at the mountain, he tells Doraemon to stay behind while he rescues Shizuka alone. Finding her in the storm, they seek shelter in a cave where they light a fire. Shizuka's condition deteriorates. She develops a worsening cough and eventually answers yes to a question Nobita had asked days earlier before fainting. Carrying her on his back toward the Anywhere door, they become lost in the blizzard. During a fall, Nobita loses his glasses and injures his ankle, making escape impossible alone. Their only hope lies in memorizing the exact time and location of the tragedy, trusting their future selves will remember and return for rescue. The plan works. Adult Nobita appears to save them. After ensuring Shizuka receives hospital treatment, the adult version meets his younger self in a park, confirming her recovery and spotting Doraemon napping on a bench. Before departing, adult Nobita advises his younger self to treasure every moment with Doraemon, as their friendship is precious. Learning that Shizuka said yes to his future self's proposal, young Nobita cannot contain his joy upon discovering his engagement to his dream girl. He and Doraemon celebrate together, deciding to witness the wedding day. Following adult Nobita, who appears to be rushing to his ceremony, they use the take-copter to keep pace. Distracted by the unfamiliar future world, young Nobita nearly gets hit by a floating train and becomes trapped in a transport tube, requiring Doraemon's rescue. Upon reaching the wedding venue, they discover the ceremony is actually scheduled for the following day. While adult Nobita sits on the sidewalk, he receives a call from Sunio reminding him about his bachelor party at John's house that night. Under their invisibility cape, Doraemon and young Nobita attend the party, where they learn that Dekisuji had childhood feelings for Shizuka, though she always preferred Nobita. Even John congratulates the groom, prompting the boy to check on his bride-to-be. At Shizuka's house, they observe her saying good night to her father, though she seems troubled. Using the honesty robot, Doraemon compels her to reveal her concerns. Shizuka confesses to her father that she wants to cancel the wedding, feeling she's never repaid her parents for their care and doesn't want to leave them. Her father responds that she has given them invaluable gifts. The experiences they've shared and happy memories they've created together are the best presents possible. Shizuka then admits her fear about making marriage work, but her father assures her that choosing Nobita was correct, despite being somewhat troublesome. The The boy loves her deeply and genuinely wants her happiness. These words comfort Shizuka's heart and restore her confidence about the marriage. Having witnessed this touching moment, Doraemon and Nobita return to the present. The boy visits Shizuka's house to promise he'll make her happy for life. With his future secured and plans working perfectly, Nobita borrows the take-copter and announces his happiness to the world. At that moment, Doraemon's nose begins beeping with notification that his mission is complete. He must prepare to return to the future within 48 hours. Watching Nobita's joy, Doraemon begins crying. Now that he can go home, he realizes he doesn't want to say goodbye to his friend. Later, when Nobita asks for help defending himself against John, Doraemon panics, explaining that the boy must learn self-defense because he won't always be there to help. Breaking the news of his departure, Doraemon watches Nobita become distraught and cry. Though claiming he doesn't want to return to the future, Doraemon explains his programming gives him no choice. His statement about not wanting to leave breaks a rule, triggering punishment. Despite attempts to cheer his friend, Nobita remains upset and continues crying. Doraemon reminds him that at least his future will be happy now, though he worries about ongoing bullying. Expressing his wish to stay by Nobita's side forever, he asks the boy to promise he'll manage independently. Upon hearing this, Nobita stands up and walks away, asking to be left alone when Doraemon tries to follow. While walking sadly through the streets, John appears looking for a fight. Nobita's initial instinct is to flee, but remembering Doraemon's words, he decides to stay and fight instead. Minutes later, Nobita is taking a beating but refuses to give up. As darkness falls and Doraemon grows worried, he ventures out to find his friend. Discovering the badly injured but still fighting boy, Doraemon watches as Nobita, encouraged by his words, continues the battle until John finally declares him the winner. After the bully leaves, Doraemon approaches, and Nobita announces that his friend can now depart peacefully because he's learned to defend himself independently. That night, after treating his injuries, Nobita sleeps while Doraemon stays by his side until the final moment of his stay. Upon waking, Nobita finds his friend gone forever but tries to adapt to his absence. Weeks later, Sunio claims to have discovered a legendary snake in a concrete pipe, convincing Nobita to poke it with a stick to lure it out. Instead of a snake, an angry dog emerges and chases him home. Walking back in torn shorts, John runs up excitedly claiming he's seen Doraemon. Nobita rushes home hopefully, but finds his room empty. Thinking his friend might be using an invisibility cape, he gathers coins and announces loudly that he's going to buy dorayaki, Doraemon's favorite treat. On the way, Nobita overhears John and Sunio laughing about their April Fool's prank. Discovering their cruel lie, he becomes enraged and returns home crying. Though he's grown accustomed to Doraemon's absence, he still misses his friend terribly. Of all the horrible things those bullies have done, this was the cruelest. Deciding to use the box Doraemon left behind, Nobita presses the button. The device provides exactly what he needs to solve any problem he faces. In this case, opposite day pills. By taking them, anything he says becomes the opposite of reality. He tells his troublesome classmates it's a beautiful day, immediately causing rain to begin. Next, Nobita makes the dog that attacked him go after Sunio, and through his reverse statements, causes John's mother to punish him. After getting his revenge, he returns home where his mother asks if he's found Doraemon. Depressed, Nobita states that his friend is gone forever and he'll never see him again. However, to his amazement, when he enters his room, he finds his robotic friend emerging from the drawer. Doraemon reveals that for some reason, his bosses from the future allowed him to return and stay with the boy permanently. At this moment, they embrace and cry together. Still under the effect of the opposite day pills, Nobita declares that he and Doraemon will never be together again. Meaning, of course, they'll never be apart. What did you think of this heartwarming tale of friendship, growth, and second chances? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps. Until next time,